All right, everybody, good afternoon. Welcome to the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship West Regional here at Crypto.com Arena. As we get started here with Arizona, as a courtesy to fellow media members and team participants, we ask that you silence your cell phones. We also ask for those media here in attendance to raise your hand, and we have two mic holders that will bring a mic over to you. Please provide your name and media affiliation each time you ask a question during the press conferences. For those of us joining on Zoom, please use the raise hand function for questions, and we'll address your question we'll address those questions in the room first, and then get over to you on Zoom. And one final reminder here: recording press conferences on cell phones or cameras is prohibited. All right, we'll begin with Arizona. We have student athletes Pella Larson and Keyshawn Johnson. We'll go ahead and open it up for questions. Reminder, raise your hand right over here.
Jordan Mendoza, USA Today Sports. Your coach has mentioned previously that the international trip that you guys took over the summer was very beneficial for you guys, and some other coaches have done the same that have also in this tournament have said the same thing. So for you guys personally, like, how was it? How did the trip help lead you guys to where you guys are at now?
The trip, I feel like the trip was a great icebreaker. You know, it happened in July, August, like when we was all fresh and getting to know each other, with us being like pretty much half American guys, half like foreign guys. Like going on that trip, we learned a lot about each other, like backgrounds, ethnicities and all that stuff, like the wars that happened in other people's countries. So we all just gained a sense of what each other been through in life, and that was pretty much just the start of our journey.
Hi guys, Addison here with Arizona PBS. Just kind of looking forward to the matchup tomorrow. Clemson plays at a very slow pace, as you guys know, and they shoot the ball pretty well. How do you guys kind of plan to make them uncomfortable? Because you guys have kind of struggled with that in years past.
Go ahead, Pella. You want to start?
I mean, we've played a lot of teams that play slow or whatever in our league too, and I think in these tournaments, it's a lot of the game and the fight is about effort and the 50-50 balls, rebounding. Guys will get hot and make shots or not. It's just those things that you can control is your effort, and I think it's going to be a big effort game.
Keyshawn, for you?
For me, I just feel like we just need to play Arizona basketball. You know, they have their game plan, whether they're just used to playing slow or whatnot. We're used to playing fast, so we just got to just stick to our own identity. You know, whether we slow down a little bit by them or we're able to speed them up. You know, the game of basketball is so unpredictable, so we're just gonna see what's gonna happen tomorrow.
Go ahead, fourth row.
Pat Paris from KGUN 9 in Tucson. Pella, I'll ask you, you've been to the Sweet 16 before, but you've never been past it. Your thoughts as you get here today with the game tomorrow, just the emotions and desire to get past the Sweet 16?
Just very excited to be here, first of all. I think if you're not excited to be in the March Madness, you're doing something wrong. So we're all very excited. We were excited the first game. We're excited now. Nothing's really changed. It's just another chance to prove ourselves and what we can do, and we're just really excited for tomorrow.
12 Sports out of Phoenix as well. We've heard you mention poise in the past, especially in this tournament, and I'm curious how important you think that'll be for tomorrow, not only for yourself but the entire team, and how would you describe perhaps the poise within this team?
Yeah, I think the poise at times is really good with our team, and at times we've turned the ball over a little bit too much and allowed other teams to get back in the game. And having possession of the ball is huge in tournaments like these. We only have one game, win or go home. So the poise is going to be a big key. And when we take care of the ball, I don't think there's a lot of teams that can defend what we do on the offensive end.
Saul Bookman from PHNX in Phoenix. Keyshawn, obviously most of the team has not been past the second round. You have, you and Caleb. Have you guys had any conversations about what you think this next two games possibly could take just to get to the Final Four? And has anybody come up to you and said, hey, what can we expect or anything like that?
All of us have these conversations every day, just first of all, thanking God for the journey that we've been on, having the experience of getting past the Sweet 16, making it to the national stage and all that. But we talk about it every day. We know it's going to take everything, faith, luck, just trust, and also discipline, sacrifices. The list goes on and on. Everything comes into play when it comes to March and April. So, it's not just one thing we can just put our eye on. We got to take into account all things.
Do you have any other questions here in the room? Start over here in the second row, and then we'll go back to you.
Clemson in their last game were able to prevent a pretty high-powered Baylor offense, and they'll be trying to do the same to you guys. How do you kind of avoid starting the game out in a lull or just falling to like a bad offensive rhythm?
You just got to play Arizona basketball. We can't worry about the stuff that's out of our control. I feel like what they do is pretty much out of our control. They got their own game plan, and we got our own game plan. We just got to go out, roll the ball out, and stick to what we got, and the best man will win.
Go ahead over here in the fourth row.
Yeah, that's for Keyshawn. This is Kyle Kensington for the Daily Star. Last year you were talking about the run and having that experience. With the Sweet 16 matchup, you had a block late in that game, steal late in that game, impacting a game sort of like with those kind of plays like that. How much do you kind of take into that role? And then following up on that a little bit, Jaden was on the opposite side of that game last year. Has that ever come up between you two? And he kind of has that same role now.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. Sometimes he give me a hard time about it, and I rub it in his face, a little bit. Just pretty much the relationship that we all have with each other is just a blessing for us all to come together. Caleb, through the journey that he went, me and Jaden seeing each other last year, Omar and Pella being on great teams. We just all talk about all these great experience and everything. But going to your question about just like making any play that it takes to save the game. We watch a lot of film. We just, you're going to have to, you'll see one thing on film, be like, okay, that'll happen tomorrow in the game, and if I could do that to save the game, let me do that. Let me make that play. Let me dive on the floor. Let me get a deflection. Whatever the case may be, all things come into count in March.
Go ahead, over here.
Luke Litton here again with 12 Sports out of Phoenix. Keyshawn, I'm curious. You've been in this situation before. What do you think you've learned the most from your playing career that perhaps can help you and the team tomorrow to advance to the next round?
What I learned the most is just do whatever it takes, make your sacrifice, try to make the game easier on your teammates, whether it's Pella getting a jump stop and he's kind of trapped. If I back cut and I could give him a release, a bailout, just try to make the game easier on your teammates, do whatever it takes. Don't really worry about the numbers, stats. That's me problems, It's bigger than me when it comes to March.
For those of you on Zoom, if you have a question, please use the raise hand function. And how about here in the room? Does anybody have any questions? All right, not seeing any on Zoom. One last call here in the room. All right, Pella, Keyshawn, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll have Arizona head coach Tommy Lloyd here at 1:25. Everybody, Hammond Communications will post a recording of this press conference and all press conferences on the NCAA Digital Media Hub at ncaa.veritone.com. And transcripts will be provided by ASAP and will be posted shortly on the NCAA Digital Media Hub. Welcome, Coach. All right, we'll begin with Arizona head coach Tommy Lloyd. Coach, we'll begin with an opening statement from you and then open it up for questions.
Good to see all you guys. Great to be in LA. Proud of our guys and what we've accomplished and are attempting to accomplish. It's been a great group, and just obviously looking forward to a great challenge tomorrow.
All right, we'll open it up for questions. We'll start right here in the first row.
Hey, Tommy, Jeff Eisenberg with Yahoo Sports. Believe it or not, there were some former Arizona players who weren't that excited when you were hired 3 years ago. Can you just kind of describe what your reaction was back then to some of the stuff that was said and how you won some of those guys over?
Well, they had a right to feel that way. I mean, it's an amazing program, and it's an amazing legacy, an amazing tradition, and, I probably, did I not know myself so well? I probably would have wondered what the heck are they doing hiring an assistant coach from the WCC. And, so, I mean, I think that's all justified. And I knew that, me just talking or whatever wasn't going to earn people's respect. We needed to come and do a great job on a day-to-day basis and run the program in a way that our former players would be proud of. Our former players are a huge part of, what is – put our program in such a great position, nationally. I mean, these guys they're the passion they have for Arizona and the talent they have for basketball players, the great coaches that we've had, from Fred Snowden to Lute Olson to Sean Miller, you know what I mean? Those guys have all made my job better. And the former players are the ones, that's the blood, sweat, and tears. So those guys had a right to feel that way. I wasn't an Arizona guy at that time, but I tell you what, I am now.
We'll go to the fourth row.
Brian Peterson with AZ Desert Swarm. Going into the NCAA tournament, you mentioned a lot about having the extra rest from coming home from the Pac-12 and being able to kind of reset. You were the first game of the second round, and you were home before most of the games were even played. Can that same rest factor be a benefit to you again?
Well, you hope so. I think, anytime you can try to find an advantage, you try to wrap your arms around it. I feel like, for this time of year, we're pretty healthy, we're pretty rested, which is a little bit of a luxury. But, just because you had an extra day or a few extra hours, that doesn't mean you have a significant advantage this time of year, because the other team's really good. I mean, they're really, really good, and they're playing for something as well. So, it was good to get back, catch our breath a little bit, and have kind of a normal week of preparation for us, because we're used to playing on Thursday, Saturdays. It's basically what we do in our conference. So, all in all, yeah, I'd say we feel like we're in a pretty good place.
We'll stay in the fourth row over here.
Yeah, Tommy, Steve Rivera, allsportstucson.com. Was there a point in maybe January, February where you said to the guys, okay, guys, we can be better. Let's show it?
Well, for sure. I think there was a point yesterday in practice, that I felt like that. But you're right. But I also know that these seasons are long, and it's really hard to be trending in a positive direction the entire time. Part of growing over the course of a season is struggling and dealing with adversity and staring it straight down and acknowledging, hey, we might have some weaknesses. We got to get better, or we're not doing a good enough job, whether it's as a coaching staff or as players. So we took some of those, maybe some of those that tough stretch, because we were on the road for basically a month. We didn't play a game in McHale. So I think that just kind of threw us off our rhythm a little bit, and we got a little tired, and we played some teams that played really well. But I think that adversity has helped make us a better team today.
We'll go next to the first row.
Yeah, Beth Harris, AP. Tommy, the NCAA president, said today that they're going to start working on banning prop bets on individual players. Wondering your opinion on that, and also, do you hear your players getting harassed at all during games for their performances?
I know as little about gambling as maybe anybody. Somebody had to explain to me what a prop bet was, so I really don't have an opinion on it. I mean, there's lots of things going on in this world that, require attention. Unfortunately, my attention can't be divided on those things. So I'm 100% focused just on Arizona basketball, and I'm going to trust the powers that be will put our game in a good position. And if some of those other things are causing problems, I'm hopeful they fix them.
We'll go over here, second row.
You're here, Jordan Mendoza, USA Today Sports, trying to get over that hump of getting this team to its first Final Four in over 20 years. And you have guys that have been to the Final Four before. Has the team kind of just looked to Kashad and to Caleb just about, hey, like, what do we need to do this weekend to make sure that we end up going back to Arizona?
I mean, first off, I don't see a hump. I mean, I don't see a hump. I mean, I'm just a basketball coach at Arizona in my third year. I see opportunity. So, we look at opportunities, as a privilege, and we want to take advantage of them. With that being said, 100% we understand that every opportunity doesn't ensure you're going to be successful or you're going to be able to take that next step, because it's going to be really challenging. So, and to be honest with you, we're I know it's boring, but we're a one day at a time, one game at a time, cliche coach, cliche team. And so we're 100% focused on Clemson, and we haven't looked anything beyond that.
Coach Luke Liddon here with 12 Sports out of Phoenix. I believe deep runs in the big dance always require teams to win in different ways. It seems you have done that. This team has done that the first two games of the tournament. And how would you assess this team's ability to win in different ways, whether it be on the defensive end or the offensive end, especially when we look at these first two games of the tournament?
When we build a team, I mean, as a staff, I think the first thing we always think about is we want to give our team as many chances to win games as possible. So, whether that's the defensive end, the offensive end, a secondary lineup you might use. We're trying to think of everything we can to give ourselves opportunities to win. So, I think with that mindset, you're not afraid to play different styles, and because I understand, hey, these other coaches are really good. And they're going to come out with game plans, and we're not always going to be able to play 100% in our comfort zone. So we've got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. So I think our guys have done a really good job these first two games, and even down the stretch of the season, we were seeing. Every game it seemed like we were seeing a new coverage, a new type of defense, that maybe the team hadn't even done that much, so we were getting the kitchen sink, and that's not easy to play against on a nightly basis, but I think our guys have handled it pretty well.
We'll keep it in the third row. Go ahead.
Damian Alameda, 13 News. Tommy, so the NCAA president today came out talking about the desire to cut college sports prop bets.
We already had this question.
Did you?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
perfect.
So, and I just I'll give you the same response. Somebody had to explain to me what a prop bet was. So I'm probably the least, person. I don't understand gambling or all the things and spreads and money lines. I don't even know what all that stuff means. So, yeah, I'm probably the wrong guy. Go ahead.
Hi, Tommy. Addison Kolbach here with Arizona PBS. Just kind of, I got here late. I don't know if you already asked this, but kind of looking at Clemson, they're a slower paced team that likes to shoot the mid range, shoot the three ball a lot. And your team has kind of struggled with that in years past, like in Princeton. How do you guys plan to speed them up and play Arizona basketball?
Well, whatever their pace, their tempo. What I see when I see Clemson, I see an incredibly physical team that has a conviction to assert their physical will on you. And I don't really and I sit there when I watch them on film and say, wow, these guys are playing extraordinarily slow. I see they have a couple, elite perimeter players. I see they have, two really good big guys. I see they have good size at the other positions, and they play with effort and toughness, possession by possession. That's what I see when I watch Clemson.
Again, if you have a question, go ahead and raise your hand. We'll go back to Jordan. Go ahead.
Tommy, I know you mentioned it before, but Matt Painter mentioned in their win over Utah State the benefit of having an international trip before the season, and you've said the same thing as well. And could you just go in depth about what helps get with that trip to get your team here?
Well, it's the first time, and I've traveled a lot. Obviously, if you guys know my coaching background, I've recruited internationally for years, and I love traveling, and I've taken my family on around the world trips. We really valued, my wife and I, traveling with our kids and making that part of our life. But to be able to take our team, it's the first time I've done a foreign trip. And I didn't want to just do one of these foreign trips where you go play a couple, rinky-dink select teams. We wanted to go play national teams. We wanted to go to places of substance where our guys could learn. So, we got the opportunity to go to Israel and Abu Dhabi. And it was an awesome trip and an amazing way to, get everybody in our group. We had a group of like 50 people I mean, to get them connected, get them out of their comfort zone, and we fully participated in everything Israel had to offer. And it was an amazing trip and an amazing way to kind of kick off our journey, and especially, in light of what's happening over in that part of the country or part of the world right now. It was a really impactful trip for us, and I'm hopeful. You can do those trips every 4 years. I'm hopeful in 4 years. I'm optimistic that the world's going to be in a better place. That region of the world's going to be in a much better place, and I'm hopeful that Arizona can make a return trip over there, because I think that would be really, really cool on a lot of levels.
You have a question in the back? Go ahead. Get a mic over to him.
Jason Shear, Wildcat Authority. Really every game, but especially in this one, how important to this team overall this season has Keyshawn Johnson been defensively, especially?
I mean, Key's been tremendous. I mean, his toughness and versatility and effort he gives on the defensive end are almost second to none. And I don't. We're a team with a lot of good players. Who scores a lot of points, and I think a lot of attention gets focused on that, and maybe his impact on the defensive end just gets lost in the shuffle. But not on me. I mean, that dude is a bad boy, and he gives it everything he's got, every possession, and so he's really, really helped us at that end of the floor. He's helped kind of grow our identity there, and I don't even know. I don't think he was even first team all conference defense, which is crazy. Wow. Trust me, any coach in our conference or any coach in the country that had Keyshawn Johnson on their team would value what he brings in the defensive end, and he's to me, he might not be all Pac-12 first team defense, but he's definitely all first team, all American, all defense in my opinion.
Do we have any other questions?
Coach, I'm curious, how would you describe this team's poise? We know March Madness can be crazy, you never fully know what to expect. How would you describe, from your perspective, the team's poise?
I mean, I love our poise. It's something we talk about all the time. Poise is built from confidence and belief, and I think we have those two things. But you're right. This tournament tested it, and one of the the crazy things about these tests is you don't always know what the response is going to be. I mean, you can have an idea, and I trust our poise. I trust our belief and confidence, but that doesn't mean that it's always gonna show up in the moments you need it to, and that's what makes these games, I guess, such a spectacle.
For those on Zoom, if you have a question, go ahead and use the raise hand function. Do we have any other questions here in the room? Yeah, go ahead.
Coach, kind of in the same vein about Keyshawn's defense, Bradley in the last round in particular, he came out and did some pretty great things defensively, and having a guy that you can turn to off the bench that can bring that same sort of defensive intensity, how important is that? I mean, yeah,
Jaden was spectacular, both games up in Salt Lake, and he made some awesome plays defensively, and he just makes plays and has a knack for really understanding his scouting port, but also having the courage to make in the moment impactful decisions on the defensive end. And I think you could go down the list of our guys individually as defenders. Bradley's exceptional, Kylan Boswell is great, Caleb is much improved. Umar, we rely on him so much to clog up the paint and protect the rim, and KJ Lewis is the guy's a dynamo defensively. Then you add Pella to that mix, who is I think the best things he does is at the defensive end of the floor. I think you have the makings of a great defensive team.
All right, we're going to go next to Zoom, where we have KCU BAM Wildcats Radio.
Hey, Tommy, David Kelly, Wildcats Radio 1290. Last year, after you guys lost to Princeton, Pella took that game as hard as anybody. We were talking to him in the locker room, he was in tears. I'm wondering, in the days leading after that, he expressed how disappointed he was, and his performance and how he wanted to treat this year to try to make sure that you guys got back to this point?
Can we have you repeat the question?
Yeah, man, it's basically the speaker's turned away. I mean, I can't.
Yeah, Tommy, can you hear me now? Is it a little bit better now?
A little bit.
Yeah, just Pella Larson took that loss last year as difficult as anybody in the locker room in Princeton after the game.
You guys hear it? David, I'm struggling to hear you, buddy.
Can you type the question in the chat? That might help.
Yeah, I was thinking because the speakers are pointing to you guys, and I got bad ears. I just hear, yeah.
Go ahead. We'll try one more time. If you could repeat the question. Can you type the question in the chat?
Did you type it?
No, you can't type it. Go ahead. We'll try one more time. If you could repeat the question. All right, David. We'll have to try to get you again tomorrow. Does anybody have any questions here in the room? All right, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.